Welcome back. JPMorgan CEO Jamie Dimon has praised the Prime Minister for all of his achievements in India, saying that he's done an unbelievable job. So words of praise coming in from the CEO of JPMorgan. Let's just hear it from the man himself.
He's taken 400 million people out of poverty. When we go lecture Modi about, when they want trade with us, but we lecture literally. I go to these countries soon after a lot of our government officials there. It's like we're fantasizing about, climate and labor and how we think they should be running their country. He has 400 million people without toilets. Really? And we're lecturing them how to do things. They put in this unbelievable, every citizen by hand or by eyeball or by finger is recognized. They open bank accounts for 700 million people. The transfer payments are going through. They've got an unbelievable education system, unbelievable infrastructure. They're lifting up that whole country because this one man is he's tough. But I think you have to be tough to break that down, and he's breaking down some of the bureaucracy. They have, I think it's 29 states or something like that, but they all had completely different, it's almost like Europe, they have completely different tax systems, which leads to enormous corruption. He's breaking all that stuff down. And so, there are examples of people who have just turned these things around, and we need a little bit more of that here.
Joining us now for more on this is Pallavi Ghosh. Pallavi, this is huge, a big validation and a thumbs up coming in from the Prime Minister, from JPMorgan CEO, singing praises of the Prime Minister for all that he has done for the country. In fact, very interestingly, he also praises India's tax regime as well, and it's coming in the midst of this whole row around Sam Petroda's recent remarks.
He comes out with estimates across the world, and he clearly coming in from the CEO is a huge thumbs up to our economic policies. See, there was a time and where it was believed that economic policies of India was not growth oriented, or it was very sluggish, particularly in the post-COVID era. But Avantika, the thumbs up which is coming in, not just JPMorgan, it also has come in from other companies which give estimates, for example, the Moody's. So the quick point that he's making over here is one, of course, as you pointed out, the tax regime, which is considered to be progressive and pro-people, and also one which spurs growth. It also talks about the quick decision-making by the government. And he said, I'm very impressed with the working style of the Modi government. And India has phenomenally shown an economic growth and an upsurge, which especially in the post-COVID area, where some of the most so-called developed countries have not been able to fend for themselves. In that sense, India's story has been very different. Politically speaking, if you ask me, well, of course, it's a huge thumbs up. It's certainly going to be used by the BJP to make the point that this is exactly what we talk about when we talk about Viksit Bharat, and how a third term will actually make it $1 trillion economy. And there's a reason why people should be voting for the Modi government.
Very, very big one, and rightly said, Pallavi. A huge endorsement coming in for Prime Minister Narendra Modi from JPMorgan CEO, who said that one needs a leader like that in the United States as well. Let's just play out an excerpt of that entire conversation and listen into what he has to say.
Modi has done an unbelievable job in India. I mean, literally, and I know, the liberal press here, they beat the hell out of him. He's taken 400 million people out of poverty. When we go lecture Modi about, when they want trade with us, but we lecture literally. I go to these countries soon after a lot of our government officials there. It's like we're fantasizing about, climate and labor and how we think they should be running their country. He has 400 million people without toilets. Really? And we're lecturing them how to do things. They put in this unbelievable, every citizen by hand or by eyeball or by finger is recognized. They open bank accounts for 700 million people. The transfer payments are going through. They've got an unbelievable education system, unbelievable infrastructure. They're lifting up that whole country because this one man is he's tough. But I think you have to be tough to break that down, and he's breaking down some of the bureaucracy. They have, I think it's 29 states or something like that, but they all had completely different, it's almost like Europe, they have completely different tax systems, which leads to enormous corruption. He's breaking all that stuff down. And so, there are examples of people who have just turned these things around, and we need a little bit more of that here.
Mr. R.P. Singh from the BJP also joins us on the broadcast. Mr. Singh, I don't know if you've heard what the CEO, Mr. Jamie, has said, but I'm sure you'll be smiling year to year with the kind of praises that the JPMorgan CEO is, heaping on the Prime Minister. He goes on to praise all the reforms of the Prime Minister. He goes on to praise the Prime Minister for taking a tough stance. And also, very interestingly, he not just praises the Prime Minister and lauds him for his initiative of building toilets and providing access to toilets under the Prime Minister's Swachh Bharat mission, but also praises the Indian tax system. Now, this is a very interesting one, Mr. Singh, because it's coming in the backdrop of Mr. Sam Pitroda, who has recently invoked the US inheritance tax matter.
Well, not only that, he also spoke about the way the Prime Minister has opened the bank accounts for poor and the complete transparency in the government benefits which go to the poor. But that's the best part. And also, yes, he speaks about various other policies of the government, which, as per him, which will trigger us for the third largest economy also. So, everywhere, people who understand economy, they'll appreciate the way the Prime Minister has led the country in the hour crisis when Corona was there, and thereafter, the way the whole the economy has been led, and the way we are on the growth trajectory now. And then last 10 years, we have been doing very well on the economic front.
True. Gives a seal of approval, his endorsement amid the ongoing political slugfest that we are seeing, Mr. R.P. Singh, over the Congress's wealth redistribution, poll promise, and Mr. Sam Pitroda's US inheritance tax. How do you see all of this in context?
Well, what Sam Pitroda has said is part of the DNA of the Congress party, whether it was the Manmohan Singh ji earlier or whether it's Rahul Gandhi now. They have been going on the same trajectory as for the wealth distribution and also targeting a particular community, working for only for a particular community. That is, Muslim community, and they are targeting vote bank because of that. But ultimately, it's not going to help the economy. No, he's probably going to want to take country to the Karl Marx way. And long back, their leader, Narasimha Rao, and then Finance Minister Manmohan Singh ji gave a different trajectory to the country. And that was trajectory of growth, trajectory of taking things forward, opening up economy. But it is now with the leadership of Congress leader now, Rahul Gandhi, and then his friends, his cronies around him who are more into this socialism and communism and then more into the NGO level of political atmosphere we built in the country.
How do you see this amid all the criticism and brickbats that have been coming from the Prime Minister or for the BJP, from the Indie bloc, from the opposition comes, the JPMorgan CEO who's heaping praises on the Prime Minister, who's in fact not just blindly heaping praises, he talks about all the issues, all the reforms. And he's also saying, in fact, it takes a very tough leader to make those changes.
Well, there's no doubt that decision taken by the Prime Minister has been the toughest decision, and as when he implemented GST, everyone was against GST. Today, GST has not only unified country economically also, but it has brought country to a trajectory of economic growth. Every year after year, quarter after quarter, the GST is growing. And also, how to root out corruption of the system.
True. And he mentions that. He mentions that also, Mr. Singh. He says that, it only takes a very tough person to break through the traditional setup, the traditional bureaucratic shackles to try and get that change, and the change that one is now seeing for themselves.
That's what I was saying, that when the Prime Minister hits at corruption, it's being appreciated worldwide. The way the norms of the administration are broken, and then all those who are known for corruption, and because political corruption is seen more on the television and is spoken more, and it's there more in the environment. The fact is, it's not merely political people who are into corruption system. There are businessmen, there are bureaucrats also who are part of the corruption, and Prime Minister ensured that all should be taken, rounded up, and strictest action should be taken, and that also helped the investors also. It gives a different sort of level of confidence in us to the investors also, that yes, this country is hitting at corruption, and then probably things will, when we go there and invest there, we don't need to go through the bureaucratic channel or the political channel to get things done and to see, or they are not looking for favor, they are looking for the opportunities, and then for that, there are no blockers now.
Right.
There are no road blockers now for that.
All right, Mr. R.P. Singh, thank you so much for your time on CNN News 18. And with that, it's time for me to wrap up things here. But the news and updates continues on the other side with my colleague Ayushman. Keep watching.